As soon as Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever were eliminated, Alyssa Thomas, Connecticut's best player, or Connecticut's most hyped player, went to the podium and started complaining about Caitlin Clark fans.
I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base.
Alyssa Thomas just got suspended for a brutal racist assault on Caitlin Clark, and the meltdown that followed is just embarrassing. After putting up a trash performance against the Minnesota Lynx in the playoffs, it seems she couldn't handle the heat. So what did she do in her post-game interview instead of owning up? She decided to pull the racism card out of thin air, turning all the attention to Clark's fans, accusing them of being racist. So, if you're watching this video, there's a 99% chance you're probably a Caitlin Clark fan yourself, and now according to Alyssa, that makes you a racist. Too well, thanks for enlightening us, Alyssa.
Those guys, they're the racists, when really, y'all are the racists.
It's crazy how blind someone can be to not see Clark's insane stats and think it's all because of her skin tone. You better deserve a suspension then. But hey, do you know what exactly she said that got her into this mess? Why is everyone turning on her? And is there any chance she's going to be forgiven by the league? Let's get into the details real quick.
We all know what this really is. It's an attack on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's the wrong face for this league because her fans are so racist.
So the Connecticut Sun just crashed out of the playoffs in the most humiliating way possible thanks to a brutal smackdown by the Minnesota Lynx in Game 2. And after bombing on the court, Alyssa heads into the post-game interview, already looking like she's about to snap.
It's unacceptable, honestly. And yeah, there's no place for it. And we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place for it.
And when a reporter finally dared to mention her performance, it's like a switch flipped. Instead of addressing the elephant in the room, her complete no-show in the playoffs, she instantly goes on the attack, accusing Caitlin Clark's fans of being racists. She didn't say there were just a few trolls online, or that she had a rough time dealing with social media hate. Nope. She went all in, labeling Clark's entire fan base as racists who are out there ruining the mental peace of black players.
You know, we come to play basketball for our job and it's fun, but we don't want to go to work every day and have social media blown up over things like that. It's uncalled for, and something needs to be done, whether it's, you know, them checking their fans or this league checking. There's no time for it anymore.
It's almost like she'd been sitting on this side idea, waiting for the right moment to unleash it, just hoping someone would ask about her flop of a game, so she could turn the conversation upside down. You could see it on the reporters' faces. They didn't even know how to respond. No one pressed her for details or asked for evidence.
Instagram and Twitter, these are choices we made. There's an easy way. The league doesn't have to get involved. The Indiana Fever don't have to do something to get you away from social media. Put your phone down. Don't download the apps. Don't engage.
But you can't help but wonder, was this really just a heat of the moment rant, or was it a calculated move to deflect all the criticism heading her way? Alyssa Thomas came out swinging, claiming that in her entire 11-year career, she's never faced this kind of abuse until this season. And guess who she's pointing fingers at? The Indiana Fever's fan base, the very ones who've been riding the Caitlin Clark hype train ever since her jaw-dropping rookie season kicked off.
Well, now they found another victim, the fans of Indiana. Now, I'm going to side a little bit with these idiots. I'm going to side a little bit with Alyssa Thomas, who said she is the latest WNBA woke gas bag to rip Indiana Fever fan over alleged racism, demanding the franchise and league do something about it. What do you want them to do?
But here's the kicker. Did she bother backing up her claims with, I don't know, a single shred of evidence? Nope, not a chance. No examples, no incidents, not even a vague tweet to lean on. Instead, she went with a blanket accusation, pretty much implying that the entire Fever fan base is out to ruin her mental peace, because apparently Caitlin Clark's mere presence in the league is just that toxic. Nice try, Alyssa.
But who gives a rat's ass? Seriously.
But let's talk about the timing here. Why DRO these bombshells right after getting crushed in a high-stakes playoff game? It couldn't be more obvious. She was desperate to change the narrative. She knew the media would be ready to pick her apart for that dismal performance, probably waiting to grill her on why she folded when her team needed her most, or why she let herself get completely outplayed on the biggest stage of the season. So instead of facing the music, she pulls out the ultimate misdirection play, flip the blame onto Caitlin Clark's fans, and hope everyone forgets she even stepped foot on the court that night.
Caitlin Clark is Kunta Clark. She's the actual slave that everybody else is exploiting for their benefit. Angel Reese included at the top of that list. Now Alyssa Thomas jumps in and says, let me get my piece.
But here's where things get really shady. Thomas wasn't just going after Clark supporters by calling out Clark's fans. She subtly painted Clark herself as the root of the problem. Think about it. If Clark's influence is bringing out all this negativity, then she's indirectly making Clark look like some sort of villain in this whole mess.
If you got people in a room, if you got a bunch of dudes in a room and says, let's fuck up the WNBA, we couldn't have came up a master plan what these women have done.
It's a sneaky way to tarnish Clark's image without actually throwing her name into the mud. And let's not forget, this isn't the first time these two have clashed. There was already some bad blood brewing from a previous incident that put them both at the center of controversy. Flashback to August 14th, 2024, during a heated matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun. Alyssa Thomas decided to set what can only be described as the hardest screen known to mankind on Caitlin Clark. And no, we're not talking about your run-of-the-mill basketball screen. Clark, who's known for zipping around the court like a bolt of lightning, was completely blindsided and hit the floor like a ton of bricks. The impact was brutal. Fans watching live literally gasped, thinking she'd snapped an ankle or something. It was that bad. And what did the refs do? They called an offensive foul on Thomas and then just brushed it off like it was no big deal. No review, no flagrant foul consideration, nothing.
Dejanay Carrington, as we've talked about earlier this week, in game 1, poked Caitlin Clark in the eye intentionally, in my view, and in most rational people's view. Your hands don't curl up, you jab people in the eye, and you pull your hand back immediately after you've accomplished your goal. Nothing happens to Dejanay Carrington. This isn't really even discussed. She gets questioned about it once. Caitlin Clark gets questioned about it. Caitlin Clark takes the high road. She's not engaging. Hats off to Caitlin Clark.
Even some WNBA analysts jumped in, like Diane Terasai, who didn't mince words about how poorly the whole thing was handled. She flat out said Thomas should have been ejected for a play that reckless. But did Clark herself make a big deal out of it? Not a chance. She popped right back up, flashed that trademark grin, and even gave a playful wink to the crowd as if to say, I'm good, and I'm not letting this mess me up. Classic Caitlin move. While everyone else was busy losing their minds over the lack of officiating, she stayed calm, collected, and unbothered. It was a powerful moment, one that just made her fans love her even more.
The WNBA, because it's a woke league and because it's leaned into people directing their hatred of Caitlin Clark at Caitlin Clark fans.
But for Alyssa, that's when things started spiraling out of control. Clark's fans were furious, and they made sure Alyssa felt the heat online, because at the same time, Shri released the statement saying,
and it comes as a byproduct of, Caitlin, I love you to death, but girl, if you don't work on that defense, you ain't winning no championships.
And instead of owning up to a play that could have easily injured one of the brightest stars in the league, she did the complete opposite. She started painting herself as the victim, claiming that the backlash was all about race and not about her, nearly taking out a rookie phenom. It was a total deflection, and anyone who was paying attention could see right through it. The fans were mad because she played dirty simple, as that race had nothing to do with it. But let's talk about the timing here. Why DRO these bombshells right after getting crushed in a high-stakes playoff game? It couldn't be more obvious. She was desperate to change the narrative. She knew the media would be ready to pick her apart for that dismal performance, probably waiting to grill her on why she folded when her team needed her most, or why she let herself get complete.
They fired her. They kicked her off the game because it's Caitlin Clark and she can't do that game.
On Caitlin Clark. And no, we're not talking about your run-of-the-mill basketball screen. Clark, who's known for zipping around the court like a bolt of lightning, was completely blindsided and hit the floor like a ton of bricks. The impact was brutal. Fans watching live literally gasped, thinking she'd snapped an ankle or something. It was that bad. And what did the refs do? They called an offensive foul on Thomas and then just brushed it off like it was no big deal. No review, no flagrant foul consideration, nothing.